What is good? We're back. Got a little week 6 action for you. Wrapping up. Decent week. Some ugly matchups that kind of went a little different than maybe you thought they would. Playing a little banged up tonight. Crew's a little sick and what? Not too much necking on Sunday apparently.
Definitely game time decisions here after a couple DNPs.
Yeah,
we're gonna power through for your pleasure.
You guys have been doing us right, so we didn't want to leave you high and dry. So we might be a little shorter this week. We'd gladly answer all the questions. So if you want to get those rolling in, we'll try to get some of those in. We might probably only do maybe 45 minutes, an hour-ish on this go around as opposed to the marathons that we usually put out because it's rough sledding around here. But we're going to power on through. At halftime of the game here, we got Broncos up in the Chargers as of right now.
Dolchich Lake active.
Yeah, late pull off the IR. There we go. Alberto out of here. So all those Alberto fans, sorry about it. We've been telling you to pick up Dolchich for a few weeks now. So hopefully you listened. Last week we told you to scoop up Wandell before the hype got out of the bag. And it was nice to see him get through that game and not get injured. And he was helpful, useful. For the G-Men,
Getting a
big W. Lamar, started off hot, but has really, not been able to put together a full game here for a couple of weeks. Making a couple of bad throws. He's, I'm sure the Ravens are still plenty interested in bringing him back around, but definitely not quite as fun as it had been for a few weeks there, but the G-Men really just keep coming through every week, tight game after tight game, just figuring out ways to pull it out. Again, the Titans have been the comparison for the G-Men, and it just keeps kind of hanging around. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, might earn himself a little, hey, what could you do for us? And another, not going to be a big contract, which is, I think something that needs to be more. Something that happens more is, these guys like Daniel Jones say, hey, we'll take a little bit less money to stick around for a year or two and kind of prove it here instead of trying to go out there and get the big one and then be cut and be a backup, pretty quickly as it goes. But Daniel Jones shown a little bit of what could be, and be interested to see what Dayball will put together next year. We talked about it a few times, how much cap he has. But this week, Saquon.
His cap runneth over.
Saquon over there kneeling it out on the 1 yard line, hurting you a little bit, hurting your heart, but really, really doing the right thing. Then you saw, like I said, Wandell was four targets, 3 catches, 37 yards, but got the touchdown. Bellinger, another one of the rookies for the Giants, kind of showing out for you, giving you 14 fantasy points. 5 targets, 5 receptions, 38 yards, and the other touchdown for the G-Men. A little quiet from Slayton this week. Marcus Johnson getting a little extra attention. Richie James getting pushed back down. So Giants have been really hurting for playmakers, and it looks like Wandell and Bellinger could really emerge. And if Tony could ever get right and get back on the field, they might actually have a little squad of something fun here. Yeah. And that defense playing well, run game executing at a high level. Ravens on the other side. J.K. Dobbins, doesn't play a whole lot. Knee tightness. Kenyan Drake, though, blowing up. 22 points for him. Just every time I looked over to that game, Kenyan Drake was breaking one off for you. And
I kept thinking it was Duvernay. I'm like, who the fuck is this 17? And I knew that was Drake. And then finally it's just like, Jesus, man. And it's like, what happened to Dobbins? Only played 16 snaps. But they said that that knee tightened up on that terrible MetLife Stadium turf.
Maybe didn't want to risk it. Should get the Gus Bus back here soon. They were kind of hinting at that. No Justice Hill in this one. So that running back, that backfield still kind of wide open, and Drake kind of took a hold of it. 10 carries, a robust 11.9 per carry there. So
That means he's good.
I don't think you're counting on that from here on out, but he certainly didn't look terrible. Mark Andrews always doing what he's been doing, likely battling through some garbage to get some playing time there. But Ravens just really not looking super hot. So the G-men picking up a big one right there to move to 5-1. NFC East, pretty strong.
I think you gotta be targeting Isaiah Likely. He hasn't come through for you, but he's a rookie and he's showing that he can play. And when he's out there, he's running routes. Like, he only played 13 snaps, 12 routes run. Like, they have a purpose for him, and that's to run routes. So that's what you love to see from your tight end. That'll only grow moving forward. He's shown that he can be a dynamic type playmaker. I think there's still a nice little buy low window for him.
Sure. Anything in the comments over there before I move along?
We got a dynasty question that didn't pertain to this game, but we can definitely squeeze.
Yeah, we're gonna be a little more heavy in the Q&As here, just because we're not gonna go through our full gambit here. So just trying to cater to you guys who have been showing up week in, week out a little bit more.
All right, let's see here. Avatar. They bringing that movie back out? They're just gonna show the movie, the original movie, in theaters again?
Is that what they're doing? I don't know. I thought they were making.
Seems like cheating.
They were making another.
Are they? They better be making. Don't bring back the same movie and put it in the theater. That seems like laziness.
Unless it's Star Wars, then I'll go.
Remade.
Nah, I mean, I'll still go. You get Star Wars on the big screen, I'm in.
All right, let's see here. He says he's in a single QB, start 8. I'm 2-4. I had accumulated 3 firsts. I traded 2 very late firsts for DK and Devonta Smith. Love it. The probable 23 1.0 and a mid 23 second. Okay, so wait a second. I'm a little confused. What's the 23 1.0? Is it 1-1? Did you mean to put it?
Yeah, I think you meant 1-1.
But how would you trade 2 late firsts and get an early first back and 2 players? Maybe, and a mid-second.
I said presume, so maybe he wasn't thinking, who knows.
You traded 2 firsts and got 1 first back plus 2 players? I'm very confused here. He's 0-5 with multiple injuries, so you must have.
Maybe he got in there early.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there a question in there? Thoughts. I mean, is this just a humble brag? I mean, you wrecked this trade. I'd move to strike if I was in this league. How'd you give up 2 firsts and get a first back plus 2 players? I don't understand why someone would have made that trade with you, but great work.
Especially without knowing the draft positions, but is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep it moving here. Patriots, Cleveland, 38-15. Big Pats win. Bailey Zappi giving you a nice day.
Now, is that a controversy of the quarterbacks there?
It does actually seem like there may be something brewing there, because there's a little Mac Jones Patriots snafu, it would seem. Holy moly. Wow. What a play there. That could have been an easy touchdown. Hamler could have been an easy touchdown if Russell could have got it.
Throw that bitch.
Russell could have got it to him. How Hamler is not always on how Tony Hinton or whatever his name is on the field ever over Hamler's mind-boggling. Anyway, Zappi, does seem like there could be a little controversy brewing here with McCorkle and the Patriots, and Zappi not playing poorly by any means. 24 for 34, 309, 9.1 yards per attempt. So Stevenson, then the other big bright spot here. No Damien Harris, and as we kind of presumed in the question in the offseason, if they would have traded Damien Harris, would you trade it first for Ramondre Stevenson? Both of us saying yes. And Stevenson did exactly what you thought he might if he got all the attention here. 25 fantasy points for you. So congratulations to anybody firing him up this week.
Yeah, if you have either of those guys and the other one goes out, the guy that's healthy is always crushed.
Both
pretty much.
Normally good.
And to clear that up, so Avatar said that DK was one he gave away. So he gave 2 firsts and DK for Devontae and basically the 1-1. So that makes a lot more sense. I missed that. And Sorry, I'm stuffed up in the head. My apologies, Avatar. Still.
You got Bijan.
What do you think about
basically,
that trade? Yeah, I mean, 2 firsts, DK for Devontae and
Bijan? I'm with it. Bijan's, they're going to be the hottest ticket available. He's not letting you down this season.
What if it's like 1-2 or 1-3?
I mean, why does he say it was Superflex?
No, 1 QB.
I mean, you're still going to probably be fine. It's not the worst. You're going to try to get yourself up to that 1-1 and get and acquire Bijan probably.
DK over Devonta?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Sorry, I just need to clear that up. Ramondre Stevenson, though.
Yeah, crushing.
Awesome.
Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong Jr. not really to be heard from in this one, so got away from the committee and did the right thing by going with Stevenson here. Zappy again having a nice day, and the other Patriot making a nice appearance here. Thornton, 3 rushes, 16 yards.
Got to add that extra in there.
Got a TD for you, and then 5 targets, 4 receptions, 37 yards. He was coming back off of was it a collarbone, I think. So, maybe in your redraft league, he might be out there. Could be a good possible ad. I believe Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. Nelson might have been out for the game.
He was out.
And then Kendrick Bourne, I think, maybe got hurt. And, Thornton is a second-round pick here. So when he's back out there, I mean, I think that's a nice little ad in your redraft league. Probably not available in your dynasty league. But looking like he was getting some nice attention out there, and they're using him in a decent way, getting the usage. So you don't hate that. And then Hunter Henry, really 7 targets, definitely playing a lot. Little Jonnu Smith, I think he was a little banged up as well, but he was out there. So Hunter Henry had a TD, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 61 yards. So good for Hunter Henry. The offense really in general. Jacoby was 4 for 4 for 60. Devontae Parker 6 for 4, 64 yards. So the Patriots offense in general operating fairly well under Bailey Zappi. And we'll see what happens when Mac's back. But for right now, it seems like if you picked up Zappi in a 2 quarterback Superflex league, do you go after the Mac Jones owner and see what you can get, or do you just hold tight and hope that this really leans your way, and then you can, even squeeze him for some more, or just say, hey, I just found some money. What do you think?
I think you got to squeeze that Mac Jones owner for some money.
Yeah, but I don't think you can get that. Maybe if you could get the second, but I don't think you're getting the second, so I think I'm just hanging out.
Give up the third?
Yeah, but I still don't think you're getting.
I feel like
a red zone target for Dolchich.
We always play this game where, what do you do with this backup quarterback that comes in and shows something?
Yeah.
We did it with Gardner Minshew.
This one does seem a little different.
Does it?
Just because he was a pretty prolific starter in the college football at Western Kentucky. There, broke a lot of records, threw a lot of passes, and has been pretty decent. And the Patriots aren't scared to stick with you. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But you're probably right. That's usually my angle is, hey, yeah, you're right. Probably if you can get something, you should.
I'm usually like, let me just hold on and see what happens, and then they always die on my roster.
Yeah. But it does seem like there might be, looks like there might be a little magic here.
Where there's smoke,
sometimes there's Zappy.
It is a lighter, isn't it?
Zippo.
What is Zappy? Zappy's some sort of name brand, something or other.
I don't know. Amari Cooper, 12 targets, 4 receptions, 44 yards and a touchdown. DPJ, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 74 yards. So the normal suspects over there. Chubb let you down a little bit this week, not getting his normal amount of fantasy points, 8 there.
Patriots shut that shit down.
Kareem Hunt, nothing to be heard from. Jacoby Brissett, former Patriot, just, all around, just not super great for anybody not named DPJ.
I really don't feel comfortable playing
my
players against New England. I mean, obviously you're not going to bench Chubb,
right?
But I had to decide between. I was out. I'm really struggling to quarterback in this one dynasty league, and Ryan Tannehill, who I've been riding with, was out this week, and I had Brissett or Steelers Pickett And I was like, I had Brissett in there, but I'm like, because the Tampa Bay defense is supposed to be pretty good. All the last 3 weeks, they've given up some decent points to people. And I was like, Kenny Pickett's been slinging it. Let me go with Kenny. And I think he ended up with like one more point than Brissett did and went out in the first half. I was like, I just don't want to play Brissett against. Yeah. I just don't want to play Brissett against these New England Patriots. And like, it didn't work out. Did it work out okay for Mark Cooper? I guess
he got 12 targets, four receptions, and a touchdown. So I mean, it was fine.
Yeah,
the TD saved you. I think it was 4 for 40.
You want me to squeeze in another question here?
Sure.
All right, we got Stoney.
Fire him away, because like I said, we're gonna keep it a little shorter, and I'll answer. I'll stop what I'm doing. Let's go.
Stoney, 12 team Superflex half-point PPR. You don't see a lot of Superflex half-point PPR. Usually your Superflex are all the way in with that full PPR, but noted.
As it should be.
Noted. Right. Yeah, definitely should be playing full-point PPR, but, sometimes you get in a league, and I've been playing Dynasty for 27 years.
Some people really like the half point.
Yeah.
It's more fair.
But you better not be starting 3 wide receivers. All right, he says Brian Robinson and a mid to late 23 first for Chris Olave.
Run that B-Rob.
B-Rob and a mid to late 23 first. Get Chris Olave. Probably digging the air yards in a half-point PPR, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting me them chunk yardage plays.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to, like, I don't know if I want to go selling Brian Robinson just yet. Like, the Redskins clearly are
Commanders.
And Commanders are clearly in love with this man now. We don't know what'll happen with Ron Rivera. He'll probably be out of here after this year, but
he might not even. I guess they might give him the benefit of the doubt.
But he's just came back
keep
off
him the full year, but
gunshot wounds as his first game. Did he look? Gibson clearly looked like the more explosive player here. But
as usual,
and he did in the preseason too. Like, B-Rob looked fine, and I'm not hating on B-Rob. I'd like to see what could happen. You already know what Chris Olave is, so if you want to just say, hey, I'm willing to spend that money and take it. I mean, we don't necessarily already know what Chris Olave is, but we think we have a pretty good bead that he's going to be, just fine in this league. I don't know. I might just sit tight for a minute, especially half-point PPR. But you're right. I mean, the bigger play air yard guy may be a little more useful in full-point PPR or a half-point PPR. So,
and people just head over heels for Olave.
Yeah, and some people were like, "Hey, get out of Brian Robinson as fast as you can because he doesn't look great." And it's like,
He says Olave is off the chain, and I don't think B-Rob's value gets much higher than it is now. So he really wants us to answer this question a certain way.
Yeah,
he really wants us to pick that Olave side.
I definitely don't.
With it.
I definitely don't hate it.
Go get Olave. You really want Olave? Go get Olave.
Right. I mean, I'm just, I
think B-Rob's value can definitely go higher because they're going to give him the work. It looks like
right.
They just eased him in with, what was it, 12 PPR points?
They do kind of have a shit O-line, and now their quarterback's out of there. So
that's true. Those are both bad.
The mid first. To give up B-Rob and the mid first kind of stinks for Olave, but I mean, nobody wants to give up the mid first because that's probably what they just paid for Olave anyway. So I might try to find something a little less than B-Rob to give up in that trade before I go giving away B-Rob, but I'm fine with it. Like you said, heart wants what the heart wants. Sounds like your heart wants Olave. So go down that road. Jets, Packers, Zach Wilson, another not great performance, but Jets get the win. 10 of 18 for Zach Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers on the other side of that thing, 26 of 41, 246. Fine over there with Rodgers, but nothing great. Breece Hall single-handedly putting the team on his back, and
so
busting
much
off
determination,
busting off a nice run there at the end with the backward stiff arm to really put a little exclamation point on thing.
Stopped that guy, propelled him in. I thought he was going to get tackled by the other two guys coming for him, but he used the one would-be tackler's momentum to thrust him in and just ram it into their throats.
It would seem that way.
Fuck yeah, let's go. Breece Hall, baby.
As far as the Jets receiving core, nobody else that you really want to start right now.
Stoney said, yeah, I accepted the trade like an hour ago.
You can't. I mean, the biggest mistake one of the biggest mistakes non-rookie related I've made this year was any Eli Moore drafting. That's been piss poor and very bad. And you know, I don't even know why. I'm not trying to say that I made a mistake and I don't know why I made the mistake, but like I really don't know why I made the mistake. Like,
you don't know why you're wrong,
right? Like I'm okay with saying I'm wrong, but like I'd like to be like, well, what'd you learn from it? I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
like you know, the Jets passing game is,
but they're fucking winning.
but they are winning. You know, and it's not like Garrett Wilson is the reason that you know, Eli's not getting any run, but Braxton Berrios took him off the field a little bit this week. You know, so they're just getting some love from him a little bit. But you know, you're throwing 18 total passes and 10 are catches for the Jets. I mean, you're not going to want to be starting anybody over there. Tyler Conklin's usage has gone down since Ozama's been back in the fold there. But neither one of them notable performances. Like it's really Breece Hall or bust for any Jets right now. Redraft wise, you know, I don't want to say you should drop Eli Moore. He kind of came out this week and was like, hey, we're winning, so I can't really say anything, but you know, I don't really understand it either. So, you know, could get a little grease next week, but maybe you know, if you're throwing 18 passes and you're not getting half of those aren't going to Eli, then it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, Corey Davis is still getting, he had 2 for 52, but 4 catches, or 4 targets, you know, he still loves, you know, I don't know, maybe Elijah Moore, and he's talk to his mom, be like, hey, Mom, can you talk to
Zach
for me?
Yeah, maybe his mom's, I don't know.
Yeah.
On the Packer side of things, Big Bobby T getting some big targets. You know, could be a bit of a theme that he's a guy that's one of the last guys holdovers that he really trusts there. As Tunyon gets a little healthier, now there's no Randall Cobb. He looks like he's probably out for the season. So you know, some people are saying don't trust it, but I mean, if you're in this Rodgers circle of trust there, and you're going to get the action, you know, I'd be fine with rolling right into Big Bobby T next week. Lazard's been a constant and consistent. If you're losing, sell him. You know, try to get out from underneath that rock before maybe something happens to him. But he's been very consistent for you, scoring TDs when it's not great. And even this week, 9 targets, 4 receptions, 76 yards and a touch. The running backs didn't do much for you on the Packer side of things. Romeo's getting 9 targets, but didn't really amount to anything. He's beating guys. He's getting behind the defense week in, week out. So it's encouraging. And Aaron Rodgers saying, you know, hey, maybe we need to just rip this thing back down to bare bones a little bit, get it a little more basic. But Christian Watson hopefully will be back soon. Sammy Watkins may be back soon. So maybe those guys are, if you got a deeper bench in redraft, maybe they're hanging around and you got a spot to add them, throw them on the bottom of the bench, see if you can catch lightning in a bottle of somebody on the Packers here. But, you know, only if you really have a big, gigantic open spot. You don't need to cut anybody great for them. What do you got?
Let's see. So Spencer Spicier says, what should we do? What should Dynasty owners do with Marquise Brown? Do you want to jump to that game? Do you want to answer this real quickly?
Well, I was just thinking about that. I got a team where not super great. It's a pretty decent team, but it's just not working out this year. Just a combination of injuries and, you know, playing the highest point scorer or then catching a bad injury and starting the wrong guy some weeks. I would if I'm on a losing team, he's somebody that I would go out and try to trade an older guy who's playing well right now and try to get Marquise Brown. And I think that's a good target for somebody whose team is doing well and just lost a guy who they were counting on week in, week out. And now they need some production from, you know, I don't have a great example because I don't have somebody in my head. I'm sure I'll find one as we go through here. But, you know, Lazard plus what could get that guy who may be thirsty for, because we just talked about it. I'm not saying that's the best, but get the guy who's been starting Marquise every week and getting the golden goose, his golden goose in his lineup. You know, maybe you can figure out a way to could be a nice little buy opportunity to buy Marquise. He's obviously going to be just fine over there in Arizona, I think, with or without Nuke. With that being said, in redraft, or maybe Dynasty. Maybe you could throw Dortch back on the bench. I know they just picked up Robbie Anderson, but it might be a minute before he gets acclimated. And when they were missing players, Dortch was getting some nice targets there for a few games. So not the worst ad. Maybe not a waiver ad, but if he clears waivers, maybe you could pick him up. Or if you're at the bottom of the waivers, you could add him.
Maybe you could turn Nuke Hopkins into Marquise Brown.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be the worst thing either. If you
for your rebuilding team,
if you just happen to be having Nuke, if you're rebuilding, you could. I'd be fine with sending that trade that way.
You buy, selling, holding Nuke Hopkins.
Because if you had Marquise and your team's pretty good, like I'm probably going hunting for something. I'm gonna try not to give up Marquise in that situation.
Right.
But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Christian Kirk's having an okay season. Maybe Christian Kirk plus what could get me Hollywood Brown.
Probably not the best time to sell Christian Kirk. He did have a touchdown, but it wasn't very many PPR points.
No, he had 11.
And he's coming off of 2.
I'm literally looking at that game log right now. So I just kind of put that one up there. So I'd be looking to go buy Hollywood in most cases. And if I just lost Hollywood, I'm sure we'll find somebody throughout this go round that maybe I would go try to buy, but I'd, like I said, send an older guy, not that Cortland Sutton's super old, but he's just on the screen again on this game. Maybe you could try to get a little younger, sending Cortland and maybe getting something back for an injured Hollywood. I don't know. Just some ideas.
And Nuke
kind of the idea behind Nuke Hopkins for sure. I'd be fine with that.
What's your stance on Nuke Hopkins though? You buying, selling, holding, depending?
It just depends. It depends on where I am. If I have him, in that situation right there, then I'd be fine with trying to move him right now, to try to get Hollywood. And I'm not great, but if I have him and my team's okay, or really most situations, I'm probably going to be holding him and hoping that he comes back after week 1 or 2 and just smashes, and I can get, the price goes up because everybody's back, like, right back to safety blanket on that left side for Kyler, and Nuke Hopkins. So I think, for the most part, if I have him, I'm going to hold him for a week or 2 and see if that lightning rod shoots back up to the top.
Spencer asks, would you trade Marquise for DJ Moore and Dalton Schultz? Ask this guy, because no chance I'm trading for DJ Moore.
I mean, not if I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
Right now,
you need
definitely
to
not.
Trade him for somebody better to get you some better points week to week.
Yeah,
DJ Moore's not the worst long-term dynasty player right now.
No, but I don't. That's
not buying cheap.
I would rather have Hollywood, and it's like getting DJ doesn't necessarily, and that could change really quickly if DJ Moore got traded. But like I heard the Ravens, if DJ Moore gets traded to the Ravens, I don't love that.
Yeah.
But no, probably not. Not if I'm, I don't see that as like a great move up. I mean, the Schultz add-on is nice. If you're playing, 1.5 premium. But no, I'd probably stick with Hollywood there.
All right. I'm going to hit a couple more questions.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. Damien, what's up, man? Good to have you back. He says, hey, guys, do you think CMC's trade value is higher now while Panthers are receiving trade offers, or after a trade gets done, if that happens? I hit him back up and asked if, what was this necessarily pertaining to? Are you trying to sell CMC? And he said, just curious. I do have him. My wide receiver situation isn't fantastic. He's got Jameson, Gabe Davis, Curtis Samuel, Pickens, Wandale. It's a pretty decent young squad there. Just traded Ridley for him. I guess Wandale maybe. So I'm thinking of if I need to strengthen wide receiver. I mean, I'm not really jumping the gun to sell CMC right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it just really depends on what.
You probably can't get fair value for him because he hasn't been absolutely crushing. Although it's a testament to him how well he is playing on this shitbox garbage fucking team.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
He's not going to get traded to like in the NFL.
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. There's a real strong chance that he gets traded. Somebody needs to. They'll probably have to eat some of that salary, but it seems like that's definitely heating up.
Oh. Do you like that? It's got to be good, right? I mean, it's never that great transitioning teams in the middle of a year, but
right. You saying the question? What was the question?
he's wanting to sell him. Is it a good time? Basically, is what he's asking. I think
Is it a good
he
time
wants to sell
him?
CMC, and is his value going up since if he might get traded, and because the Panthers are trading players, and he has been playing pretty well. I mean, it sounds like you've got a pretty young wide receiver core. I don't know that you're really chasing a championship by selling CMC right now.
He's RB5 on the season, and this is through week 5, so this isn't average. What he did this week, I don't think.
I'll pull that up right quick.
I mean, yeah, if I'm a rebuilding team, I'm going to be constantly sending out offers to see if somebody will bite on CMC. If half the league might be intrigued about some rumors about where CMC might land. Is it the Rams? Is it the Niners? Is it Buffalo? All those things could get some people, their juices flowing, and other people might disinterest them a little bit. So it's just going to depend on the player. But I'd be, just sending a little over what you would like to get for him and seeing if you can get a dialogue started, because that's what it's going to take. Talk about it all the time on here, but like if you really want to be into the trade market and be into trading, like it's just going to be about the volume. You're going to have to be wanting to put into the time. Like you're not going to get the best deal if you're just sending out one offer with what you would what the bottom line is that you would sell for Christian McCaffrey. Now, if it's somebody like Zach Wilson, maybe you are sending out a little bit more bottom line trades to just get that done instead of a whole lot of negotiation, because Zach Wilson in the Superflex, because I just did this. And then, I sent a bunch of trades out to half the league, and then all of a sudden, within 3 minutes of sending out an offer, he got snapped up. And that makes you feel like, damn, probably could have got a little more. If he accepted that fast, that means there was meat on that bone that I could have got from that particular player. So, I mean, you just got to be a guy like Christian McCaffrey. You got to be shooting up a little bit above of what you would definitely accept, and then try to get into a dialogue with somebody. So I think you should be trying to trade him this entire season. And like I said, some of these people are going to be more excited that there's a possibility of being traded. He's been really good. So I don't really know what,
people are all like, it's Robbie Anderson season because he got traded to the Cardinals. Like no one, it's very rarely going to be anyone's season when they get traded mid-season.
It might be.
And it's definitely not Robbie Anderson, but that's just how ridiculous the hype will get once someone gets moved.
To be fair, it could be. I mean, he's a pretty explosive guy, and they can get it down the field. And will it jive right away because of the trade? Probably not. And they're going to get Nuke back here soon. But I think there could be some spots where, hey, Robbie Anderson wasn't doing anything for you, and now you might get a little spark from Robbie here or there. I mean, he kind of seems like he sucks as a human being.
Sure.
So. But maybe he's going to be determined to get there and put in a little extra work. And, we were high on Robbie 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it's just been a bummer. But, it's kind of how that goes. I would assume that teams pick trading for Christian McCaffrey. You'd probably be a little slow a week or two, but I mean, you're probably going to be trading for him because he fits right into the scheme and the fit that you're trying to use for him. Running backs probably, I would assume one of the positions that you can kind of acclimate to a little faster, especially if you're at a high level of Christian McCaffrey, but I don't know that for sure. All
right. Well, let's see here. Let's do an easy one. Trade 2 mid to late firsts for Jalen Waddle. For sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Let's see. I'm waiting. Damien V. I need a response here. I don't know if you're trying to trade for Aaron Jones or trade away Aaron Jones. So I'm going to save that question for a second.
How about T-Law going 20 of 22 and losing?
Yeah,
I saw a stat where there was like that hasn't happened.
It's never happened
before, and ran 2 in.
Right, but threw 1 in.
T-Law playing a decent game for the Jags.
Bounced back after a pretty bad week.
Wasn't great. Only 165 yards, but did what it takes to get the Jaguars the win. It just didn't amount in the win. Matt Ryan playing like a first pretty solid game of his career as a Colt.
Well, if you throw it to Pittman 16 times, it's going to probably work out.
And I like kind of where that like funnel went. It went Michael Pittman, it went Paris Campbell, and then Alec Pierce.
I don't know if Paris Campbell's seen 11 targets since he's been a Colt.
Right. And that's what they need to be. He needs to be seeing those. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor's not there. So the offense is a little different of, hey, we're going to get in here and we're going to lean on this guy a little bit more, try to keep this a little more conservative. And they went out there and slung it around with Matt Ryan. And it paid dividends this week. Michael Pittman crushed for you. If you started Deion Jackson, that worked really well for you. He got 10 targets, caught 10 balls. Paris Campbell, 11 for 7, and Alec Pierce, obviously, with the game winner there. And Alec Pierce has been, building a little rapport with Matt Ryan there. But I really like
an incredible contested catch on the sideline. That's kind of his MO.
So
was it maybe for the touchdown?
Alec Pierce has been on the buy list right now. It's probably not going to be, cheap, but he looks like he could be an ascending player on a team that very badly needs another option. Paris, again, this is what we were kind of been hoping for 2 or 3 years. We've seen glimpses of it in Paris, and if we could just get Paris on the field and get this sort of attention, anybody's going to be good with 11 targets for the most part. But Paris does have some.
I could
potential.
Tell you it was going to be Paris Campbell's breakout week because Big O couldn't wait to drop him to get Tevin Coleman, so he wasn't even really that mad at that move.
And Deion Jackson, apparently, according to Twitter, is going to be sending Jonathan Taylor, packing down the depth chart. So
we need to do a video on Jonathan Taylor, and we did one like a couple years ago, and it was basically like, don't trade Jonathan Taylor. And I guess we need to do another one.
I also really want to get in there on Najee Harris. I don't have the time right now to go back and watch every Steelers game and gather a bunch of information from the last year plus some games this year and see what's really going on. I'm getting very close to finishing up a house I've been working on for the last year, and I'm tight on time, but hopefully we're about to break free and I'll just be back to one regular job plus fantasy football. So hopefully we'll get some time in there, and we'll get a nice little Najee video on whether you should be buying or selling, because apparently he's Trent Richardson right now, because that's what everybody does on Twitter when it's not going as well as you think. It's so
cool to compare someone to
he's Trent Richardson. I told you so.
I hate that shit.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor was also Trent Richardson.
So. Act like he didn't fucking like Trent Richardson his rookie year either.
Right. I didn't. I tried to tell you.
I knew he was going to get
fat. I tried to tell you.
He's Eddie Lacy.
Tried to tell you. Anyway. You got some Travis Etienne,
up.
10 for 86 this game. Probably should have got fed a little more. James Robinson, 12 for 54. So again, ET looking like the better of the two this week, and a little bit more explosive. A little bit of passing work for ET, 2 for 2, 22 yards. Evan Ingram leading the targets for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones both getting 5 apiece there. I don't believe Marvin Jones played in this one. So just some things to look out there for. You got something else for me?
Oh, I got a bunch of stuff.
All right.
Which Damien was asking about trading away Aaron Jones, and I told him now's not the time to trade
Damien
away
Pierce
Jones
this week, so, nobody awesome to talk about. But
yeah, actually, we did have a Damien Pierce question. Where's that thing at?
Gotta get him involved.
Should I trade Damien Pierce? Case no. For a 23 first, and a 24 first. If you get 2 firsts for Damien Pierce,
fucking Josh Palmer just
Would
running
you
out of
do
bounds with the ball in his hands
that?
for no reason.
Josh Palmer.
I'm not really
letdown.
upset about it. If you want to move on and collect your money, especially if you drafted him in the second round and you want to just get your 2 firsts. At the end of the day, when a running back ascends, it's gonna be 3 firsts, and to really get him, we're not sure on the Damien Pierce ascension just yet. He looks really good. Kenny 3 Sticks, breaking out this week a little bit. He had a nice run last week, and then this week, just getting all the love, getting all the work, and looked the part, looked really good, and he's just going to continue to harder and harder to get. A good run here by Kenny 3 Sticks and a good run by Damien Pierce, and you're not going to get him for, especially a first 1 year and the first the following year. Maybe some consecutive firsts in 1 year be a little juicier, but I'm okay with that. Most people would say absolutely. I'm going to say if that's what you want to do, man, that's what you should do. But it could go wrong in a hurry with Damien Pierce and all this fun we're having right now. It could be like, damn, you definitely should have got out. But to me, he looks like the real deal.
He looks fantastic.
I'm probably holding on to my found treasure, but depending on how you like to play the game, who you listen to, what your plums say, you could take that money and
it's a lot of money
and be just fine. Right.
It's good money.
Right.
It's probably way more money than you paid, even if you spent a late first on him this year. Let's see what else we got here. All right, we answered that one. Nick, I got to know if that's Superflex or not. Let's see. PR says trying to upgrade my wide receiver. Who should I target? That's tough. I have 2 firsts and ETN. Kenny Walker III. I'm willing to move. Well, I wouldn't be moving ETN or Kenneth Walker for a running or wide receiver. Plenty of wide receivers out there. Not too many running backs. I don't know. That's too much of an open-ended question to just tell you who you got to. When you're trying to trade for a specific positional group, you got to go to the teams and look at everybody's roster in your league, like who has a lot of wide receivers and who needs a running back, or who's not that good, might want to pick, who might be rebuilding, and then how good are the firsts that you have, and then trying to line that up with who might be worth a first or not. And so then once you find a couple potential trade partners, then you can kind of figure out who the targets would be, like who's on the teams of guys that have a lot of wide receivers. Or you could put one of those players on the block and say, I'm looking for a wide receiver, and just see what kind of interest you're getting.
Take those 2 firsts and send them out for St. Brown.
Amon-Ra?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Or if you don't want to trade the picks and you really don't, you want to trade, you said Kenny 3 sticks and who else?
ETN.
Take ET and one of those firsts and try to get St. Brown. If you're going for it, go for it. Try to get a good player who's crushing right now and been a little banged up.
I don't want to sell ETN or Kenneth Walker. I feel like their value's only going up from here. I'm not trying to trade players whose values are going up.
Well, that's kind of my thoughts of saying I'm going to go after, if you're just going to give me a wide open-ended question like that, and you're exactly what you were saying is the approach that you should take. But for me, it's like, all right, I don't necessarily want to trade Kenneth Walker. I don't really want to trade ETN either. But if I do, I want to go after an asset that is still ascending in the wide receiver, and I know I feel very safe about. So I would, St. Brown will be a guy that I would go after. I know he's hot in them streets, but I don't think that's the worst. You want a cheaper guy who, if you can hang on points wise, who's going to crush it when his guy comes back, Amari Cooper. You probably don't have to trade away anything super duper heavy for him, although he is scoring points right now. Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson comes back. I think there could be, an explosion in the playoffs, in the fantasy playoffs for you from a guy like Amari Cooper. Let's see here. Drake's had a couple. London's had a couple of down games. Maybe you go after him. Probably not, though. I don't know if anybody's giving him up. Just sorting through some names here. Let's see. How about DJ Moore?
Wait, I wasn't listening, and then I started listening.
Yeah.
Don't whatever it is, no.
I don't know. Like I said, Alec Pierce would be a guy, like a younger guy. I wouldn't trade any of that stuff probably away for Alec Pierce, but
no.
Just scrolling through some names.
You're gonna be selling the first. Get somebody really good. If I don't want to sell ET or Kenneth Walker. I just don't want to do it. Would you trade Dalvin Cook, Jimmy G, and Lockett for Mahomes and Leonard Fournette? I asked Nick if that was a Superflex question, and he hadn't gotten back to me.
Or redraft.
Yeah, I need some more detail.
Run that by me again. I think the answer is just yes.
Dalvin Cook, Jimmy G, and Lockett for Mahomes and Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Like if it's Superflex Dynasty, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, it can't be though, right?
No one's coming off Mahomes.
It's a couple of pennies for Mahomes.
And that might be redraft. I don't know. I need some more detail there, Nick. We can come back to that.
Lenny's been as good as Dalvin has. Dalvin's obviously, a little more explosive. The Bucs offense is a little bit on a downturn right now, but they'll probably figure it out and turn it around a little bit. Bucs O-line banged up, but Lenny's still crushing in the pass game. Lenny's still getting all the attempts. Obviously, Mahomes is well outscoring Jimmy G. And then, Lockett's kind of the wild card that hopes maybe make up the difference between if it's redraft, the difference between Jimmy G and Mahomes there. Lockett's been pretty solid.
Lockett didn't have a great week this past week, but let's see here.
Start 3 wide receivers. Maybe it's a little harder to get rid of Lockett because it's hard to find 3 decent startable wide receivers. But I would say yes, I would trade for Mahomes just to try to get the difference maker.
All right, 10-team Superflex PPR, late 23 second for Alec Pierce, rebuilding team.
Sure.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I think so. I think you got to do that. Let's see. Alex, what up, man? Good to see you in here. Says, what up? Albert O, droppable. And what's Dolcich's value? Some recency bias probably with Dolcic going on here. He's about a 3rd, 4th round rookie pick.
Yeah.
Got the activation today.
I mean,
got
right
nice
now
touchdown.
it seems like if we were watching a stock market ticker, that thing would be all the way up to a second round pick for sure.
Yeah.
Especially in any premium
Premium.
situation. So that thing looks like it's taking a nice little bounce, especially for the fact that he's just coming off of it. And we don't know the reasons behind Alberto being inactive here, but it's not a good start. And then a touchdown and another red zone target right before half for Dolcic there. So, that's all ticking up pretty well, especially because without Dolcic, we'll wait till the end of the game to see what the other tight end usage is like, but it's been a mess tight end usage wise. And the fact that Dolcic is out there already just kind of getting high value targets is pretty good to see. So you could probably hop on that early. A second probably seems like an overpay. So I'd, maybe start. Anybody who just had him is going to be excited about him after week 1. So it'd be tough to do that. So I might, 2 3s or, some other tight end that's people kind of like, but hasn't really ascended yet.
Jelani Woods.
Holding
on to that guy.
Seems like you might could hang on to him, but if Woods in a 3rd would get me Dolcic, I'd probably do that for sure.
Coming off Zach Ertz in a rebuilding team.
On a rebuilding team, I probably need a little bit more than that. But I mean, if I'd be trying to get a second for Ertz. So yeah, I mean, I guess you might quote unquote be losing a little value in that trade, but you may be restocking the cupboard. I mean, Zach Ertz might be good for another 2 years.
Right. Now he's about to while out, get maybe even some more volume. So I like that. Let's bang out another couple questions here. JT Owner, what's up, Trenton D? JT Owner has Aaron Rodgers and Brady in Superflex League. Should I be working to send Russ or Tua in a trade for Jonathan Taylor? I guess you probably already have some quarterbacks on top of Russ and Tua, so you're not going to be really hurting yourself there. You definitely don't want to trade away a quarterback for a running back unless you
100% fine with moving either one of those 2 guys and turning them into JT.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Even Tua?
Yeah.
Regardless? All right.
Russell's done nothing to improve his value. I mean, this is maybe the best game I've seen him play. I haven't even seen the whole game.
Yeah.
He might be a little banged up. And, I think Tua's fine, but I mean, JT's pretty much always a 1st round pick in a Superflex startup. Will probably remain that way. Is going to remain that way. And those guys, I mean, I can't imagine. Russell was maybe a 2nd rounder. That's probably not holding up, and Tua's not going up to a 2nd rounder, I don't think. So
Tua absolutely could be a 2nd round starter.
Maybe he might be fringy. I think a lot of people probably getting stung by a couple quarterbacks this year that they maybe picked a little too high. So
Tua's got that upside, and he showed it. And
Tua's had a little upside for sure.
Unfortunate head injury. All these injuries for Tua have been
fluky,
I think
Tua was properly drafted this year. You're right. He probably will move up around. So we're talking 3rd round now. Tua, that's probably fair. I don't know if he'll get up to the 2nd, but if he has a good,
if it keeps going,
yeah,
you get another few games. All he needs to do is come back. He's got studs, and a stud. Everybody wants to really, really like the Dolphins right now, and
everybody likes to really, really hate Tua.
Nobody likes Tua. That's true. So I'd be down. I feel like that 4th round investment paid off, and
yeah, but it didn't for Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers and a bunch of other guys. You're sitting there right now going, damn.
Well, you shouldn't have been taking Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Carr hasn't been terrible, but they're
good
figuring it out. What do y'all think about Carr and Godwin for Lance? 24 and 25 first.
Run that by
I
me.
guess you'd be trading Carr and Godwin for Lance and a 24 first and a 25 first. 12-team Superflex rebuild. He has Carr, Zach Wilson, Winston as his QB. So he'd be trying to trade the older Carr and Godwin and grab a couple of firsts, although pretty late
first.
And Lance. That's a late rebuild.
Yeah, it's pretty far kicking the can down the road. I don't necessarily love it. If I got that 24 and 25, I'd be trying to keep working that 25 and try to move it up to a 24 somehow, like in other trades, if that's what you really were feeling like you could get and you couldn't find anything else to happen. I'd probably be hanging on to Carr for another week or two, and hopefully this thing turns around a little bit. And his value does get a little stronger, because it does seem like the Raiders are in a little bit better trajectory than they were for the first couple of weeks, but definitely leaning on the run game a little harder than expected. But I don't hate trying to trade for Lance. I don't like that one of those is a 24. Okay, the 25 feels like, let's see what else. Can we do something else besides the 25 would be my jumping off point with that negotiation.
Okay.
Also, I don't really love, Godwin's hot in them streets. I feel like I could get a first for Godwin here in another couple of weeks if this keeps up. So, like another first from somebody else who's competing. So it's not the worst deal to get a quarterback who's hurt right now and could be great for fantasy and 2 firsts, but I don't like that 25. I got to figure out something else. But Godwin's value's going up, and maybe Carr's could be getting a slight little electric shock back into coherence.
All right. Let's see here.
Maybe wait on that one because then nothing's happening with Lance, So maybe just wait a second.
True. Andrew Jackson says he's new here. What up? Welcome in. I'm in a startup Superflex and have Tua, Herbert, Mark Andrews, and Waddle. Not anyone else real valuable. I got 2 firsts. Should I be moving to get a proven commodity or wait for the draft?
Moving what?
I guess
any of those guys
firsts.
Because probably not if the rest of your team stinks.
Yeah.
Just hang out. It sucks to sit and wait your turn, but
right. Waddle not crushing it is helping you rebuild, which it sucks to rebuild in your first year. But yeah, if you got these 2 firsts, those are only going to gain value, and
they're insured.
They got the insurance policy on them, and they're going to go up in value. It's like getting a ROI. It's good interest rate on that CD or whatever. And so those firsts will get more valuable if one of them is yours, then you definitely got to keep that bitch. Because if your team's not very good and you're not winning, then that makes your first better next year. So you're gonna have a shot at one of these guys. And even if this class isn't as good as it's touted to be, they're gonna hold their value for a while. So if you can get your hands on a Bijan Robinson and this is Superflex, so that makes that first round even more valuable. I think you definitely got to be holding those picks.
Mm-hmm. And that's a nice little core, and it's not super old.
Right. I'm definitely not touching Herbert and probably not touching Mark Andrews, and I'm not moving Waddle. He's not going to return what he's worth, in our opinion anyway. We're really high on Waddle. Waddle's a pretty good trade target right now.
Why would I move Waddle?
Yeah.
He was lights out until Tua wasn't there.
Right.
And I still don't think he's been terrible.
Yeah, it was maybe 10 points last week or something. What would it take for you to move Diggs? You've been trying to move Diggs
we haven't quite gotten around to it. Like I said, we've been pretty busy. Me and Big Co are about to get a to-do list together of all the trades and things we need to do of moves and do a live Patreon show of just sending these offers. And one of the offers we were sending was DK and a first that got turned down. And then I think we had Pierce attached to that before Pierce blew up, and right before DK had the big blow up game a week or 2 ago, and then he blew up. So we kind of cooled on that, and neither one of us have had the time. We had the hurricane, and Big Co's tree company got busy, and I've been really busy with work trying to finish up this house. So haven't quite got to that yet, but what would I be? You got to get something good you got to get a younger player and a pick probably for Diggs. Like, like I said, DK was like he wasn't crushing it at that point, so he was kind of the target and trying to get a first in there, because I mean, you need multiple firsts or a good player and a first, or you need to get a good return on Diggs, because he's obviously, and if you're getting that person's pick, like, all you're doing is pushing that pick down further by trading him Stephon Diggs, unless he's got delusions of grandeur and his team kind of sucks and he just trading him Diggs because he thinks that's going to really turn it around, but it's got too many holes to fill.
Real quick, back to that Andrew Jackson trade. He said he's got DJ Moore, Lazard, Dotson, CEH. Lazard and CEH are the guys I'll be trying to move whenever you can.
You should be moving Lazard and be sending offers out on that. We've talked about that a good bit on here. And then who were the other ones?
Dotson holding there.
So for Dotson, if he can get back in there now, Carson just got hurt. For Dotson, that might be, if he can get back rolling again, scoring some touchdowns and just putting fantasy points in lineups, maybe in that particular team, if you want to try to move for picks, like try to figure out how to get the first back for Dotson, I'd be fine with that, but certainly fine with holding. But yeah, CEH obviously not great this week, and Lazard's been pretty consistent, so somebody's got to be able to give you something decent for Lazard. So some seconds and a like, go after Alec Pierce if somebody's winning, but that's probably not going to happen now because Alec Pierce has had a couple of good games. But a Darnell Mooney for Lazard, obviously he just had a good game this week, but hasn't been doing shit. Elijah Moore hasn't really been doing anything. Maybe just go after guys who have high value, who aren't scoring any points, for a guy who's scoring points in your lineup every week, and see what the deals you can get going and what you need to add to those to get the higher asset done in a trade there.
And real quick, I'll tell the ET owner wants to trade him. Should I offer a first? Should be a top 3 Superflex first. I don't think he can do that. I love ET more than anyone, but I don't think I'd be coming off one of those top 3 23 first for ET at the moment. Maybe a later first. I'm down. But in Superflex, everyone else can tell you not to do that. But I'll be in that rebuild, Andrew. I'll be holding those early 23 firsts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Football Fan 54 says,
sounds like a trap.
I know, right? I have Pierce, which I'm assuming that's Damien Pierce, and Kenny Walker III. 2 picks in the top 5 of the 2023 draft. Guesstimation there. I'm in a complete rebuild and have been trading away older assets. I also have J-Mo, Garrett Wilson, and Olave. What's my next move? Gonna need some more deets. Do you have a move in mind? I mean, what you don't do is just make moves just to make moves, man. I mean, some of these leagues, these boys just got to trade just to trade, just to be trading.
Run that scenario back again.
He's got Damian Pierce, so maybe if you could go get 2 firsts for Damian Pierce, you could do that in your complete rebuild. Kenneth Walker III, I'm holding on to him. 2 picks in the top 5 of the 23 draft. I'm holding on to that. He's got J-Mo, Garrett Wilson, and Olave, 3 rookies from this year, so that's why you're in a rebuild. But those are good players for rebuilding, I guess. I don't know what to tell you what your next move is.
I mean, your next move is just keep selling assets. That's your next move.
None of those. I mean, Damian Pierce, maybe.
Certainly none of those guys. But you're going through that team and you're spending your time just sending out offers for any of the older, decent players on your team. And anytime there's a spike in a couple of weeks of that guy, then you go and try to push him and peddle him. And you don't need to win every one of those trades either. Like, don't sell them for pennies on the dollar if they're a decent player. But if you don't need to win every one of them. Everyone in the league doesn't need to be happy about it. You just need to get whatever you can and keep adding pieces to your rebuilding squad, and then come out there and the next 2 years just hammer away. And then if you want to move a Garrett Wilson or one of those other young rookie wide receivers, if they're coming on and double up again, you could do that if you want to, or just hang on to them. So that's the next move. You got a nice little core building and some picks, so just got to keep reminding yourself you're in the rebuild and doing what you can to just add bits and pieces.
Let's see. Recovering Ridley Truther. He asked about Marquise Hollywood Brown. We did cover him a little bit earlier, I think before you joined the live stream, so you can go back and check that out. He said who's someone you would pivot from Hollywood to in 12-team PPR Superflex contenders. He's hurting bad. He had 30% rostership. He got a Judy straight up in one league and Ayuk in another. Looking for any wide receiver 3, preferentially under 28 years old. I mean, Judy and Ayuk, those are decent returns for Marquise Brown right now.
Those are nice. I mean, Ayuk probably value. Obviously, Hollywood not hurt. You're not trading out Ayuk for Hollywood, but he's hurt right now, so that kind of stinks. But whatever. Maybe you get Devonta Smith.
He's probably got to give up a little bit extra.
Probably got to give up a little extra. It's hard, man. This is, I think what you were getting there is decent.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman's another guy who's been hurt, but if you like Bateman, I don't love the situation that Bateman's in, but that could pan out for you. He hasn't been doing anything for anybody, so maybe you could make a swap there for a guy who's coming off of being hurt, for a guy who's definitely going to be hurt for a while.
McLaurin, probably not with Wentz going out.
Man, I'm just staying away from any of those Redskin wide receivers right now.
Maybe a Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love getting
said under 20.
I don't love getting that old.
Mike Williams.
Maybe a George Pickens. Maybe you could see what's going on there.
I don't know if you could get George Pickens for a healthy Marquise Brown.
Knock on the door.
Probably.
See what's up.
Are y'all dropping Jalen Tolbert? I mean,
in Dynasty, no. In Redraft, you should have dropped him a long time ago. Maybe if it's FFPC, you want to drop Jalen Tolbert because you only got 20 guys on your roster, but you gotta hang on to him.
Yeah. You buying cheap Bears players right now?
I mean, I'm fine with buying Mooney, but other than that, probably not. I mean,
Monty, probably not the worst trade.
Yeah, I mean, Monty and Herbert, sure, if I can grab those guys, Monty probably not going to be a Bear. Herbert could potentially be the lead Bear next year. I'm fine with buying Fields for a fantasy perspective if people are really down on him. I mean, he can score fantasy points in a hurry. So yeah, I guess I'm down with buying cheap Bears if I believe in the talent. And I think there is some talent there. I'm just not really sure what's going on in Chicago right now. And Fields got a lot of peaks and valleys. Some of the game looks really good. Some of the game looks really bad. So
yeah. Dylon asked about Elijah Moore. We talked about him earlier on in the show, pretty early on. You got to be holding now. There's nothing you can do with him. But yeah, we were basically saying like we don't know what we did wrong with Elijah Moore. We thought we had thought we crushed that test, turned it in, fucking failed. Not really sure why. Studied, had a good answer. Sometimes
not so fast. All right, I think I'm ready to get out of here. We got any more questions real quick before we roll out of here?
Well, let's do a couple here. I'm gonna start up 3 here. And then we're getting out of here. So if you don't have your question in right now, Big D got it in. I'll throw it in there for you, Big D. Sure. Anything for you, Big D. Ridley Truther asked us on a 12-team PPR 2-point tight end premium contender after week 4. I traded Bateman 24 first, 23 second, and the Conklin for Diggs Claypool. Cost a lot, but he single-handedly won me this week. So Bateman a 24 first, a 23 second. So you want,
that's cheap, pretty cheap Diggs.
Yeah, and got a little Claypool in there. Maybe you could
there,
turn Claypool into something else this week after coming off a good game.
Should be able to maybe get that second back if you really wanted to for Claypool.
Yeah. Hit me up with trades you haven't made yet. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Justice Dutton looking to ship off any of Saquon, CMC, Kamara, Tyreek, Devontae, Keenan. Man, just keep all those dudes and win. Looking to ship them off in Superflex tight end premium. Should I try to bank picks immediately this offseason or try to wait till mid-season 23? I mean, are you not having a good season? Like, all those guys, I mean, obviously Keenan hasn't been helping you, and it took a minute for Kamara, but the rest of those guys been pretty awesome in your lineup, man. They should make you pretty competitive. I don't know what the rest of your team's looking like. I don't know what your quarterback situation is.
I mean, it's really just like anything. It just depends on, we got a team that's not the best, that's rebuilding. We got Saquon, and you give me the right offer for Saquon, he's yours. I mean, if I'm trying to win, no, I'm not moving off of any of those guys, and my team's performing. But if I'm not, then of course I'm moving off of a lot of those guys. Saquon's kind of right there in the middle that you could hang on to. Same with CMC if you really wanted to. Is he had CMC in there?
He did.
I mean, look, if you want to, if it's not going great, or you're right in the middle there, and you don't think you're going to quite get over the hump, CMC and Saquon could really, turn you right back around if you hit it right. And then Kamara should garner some value here if he keeps up what he just did. And Keenan Allen, when he comes back, he'll have as soon as he's back, he'll have a couple of good games in a row if he stays out there. And you can move all those guys and really get a nice little ransom for yourself, or if you're in a decent position, I think those guys could be, close to contender.
Right. And especially if somehow it's not working out for you and you haven't been winning and you have all those guys and you get a good pick to go with them next year, like, whoo, Superflex too. Could really, or if it's in a league where you have to win the toilet bowl, the losers bracket in order to get the first pick, sometimes it helps to have some of those good players just to improve your pick, and then you could sell them off. So, what Casey said. Let's see. Garrett, man, this is a tough one. Win now RBs you'd be willing to send 23 and 24 first for? Is that one or the other? We just did old running back. What to do with your old aging running back? I think we were pretty much down to sell any of them on a rebuilding team for a first. You probably could go get a pretty decent running back right now for a 23 first.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly. I think you could. I think people would be willing to sell some older running backs for a 23 first pretty easily. I think you could probably go find Mixon from the right owner for that, and Dalvin from the right owner for that, and some of those guys would be happy to give them up. You probably don't need to pay that much for Josh Jacobs, but he's not. He's kind of a middle of the road target that could really help you out.
What about Kamara?
I'm a little more scared of Kamara because there is a suspension coming. I don't know when.
Next year.
Yeah, and then I just thought I saw something that said there was something else going on, but could be for not. But there's not that many guys that I'd be like, yeah, I'm contending right now, and I definitely want to trade those picks away for, either they're old and somebody's down to give them to you, or you seem like you're overpaying a little bit right now for some of these running backs. Like, you don't want to pay that much for Miles Sanders, Damian Pierce,
Yeah. Go get you Damien Pierce.
I know nobody likes that, but I'll trade the first. I mean, Kenny Walker.
Absolutely.
If you want to get aggressive, he's younger and he's a good player and he's on a team willing to give him the rock and run the ball.
He's catching it too,
and he actually has hands. I mean, DeAndre Swift, maybe somebody's mad that he's missing games. Go trade an extra first and try to get him.
2 firsts?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then throw something else in there.
Sure.
So
all right, last one. Must be in this new league we're in. Big D says Hollywood in a second for TJ Hawkinson in a 2-point tight end premium league. You guys have Hawk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he has Hollywood in a 2. Send you over for Hawk. You guys are, you plan to be productive struggling.
Yeah, we
I guess you can't accept this trade on behalf of you and Big Co here on the air, but
No. But
and maybe it's a different league, but
could be. If it is that league, we're thick in the tight ends, but they haven't produced like we wanted them to. Freiermuth hurt, Hawk up and down, Schultz out, Pitts nothing. So I don't hate it because we're thin at a lot of positions. We got a couple of firsts, we got 3 firsts, we got Deshaun Watson coming back. But yeah, I mean, yes, I would say I would probably be okay with that on that team.
Big Co loves him some Hollywood, especially in the dome.
Right. I would like to hold out for Hawkinson to really get back to rolling to where we think we could be and shoot for even higher in the 2-point per reception for Hollywood. But we've already blown one trade involving Hawkinson and a really good player that Big D had. So, I don't think I would be against that necessarily. So I would say yes in that particular league. In most leagues, I think I'm kind of okay with that. I mean, the 2-point tight end, it's going to be hard to come across a tight end that anybody wants to give up. So you're going to have to pay a little extra.
Of course, yes. That's some true lies. I need to get that little sound clip. Not that anybody would really know.
Shout out to Big D.
Yeah.
I got to get out of here.
Yeah, man. We just barely made it here to the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So I'm out of here. Had a terrible migraine all day. Jay Wayne's under the weather. Matt didn't want to come because
very nasally.
He wasn't feeling this whole situation that we got going on.
He said, "I'll remote." I said, "Well, I can't do this cool setup if we all remote. Then the which I didn't even utilize the player page that much.
Whoop.
But just gave Matt the night off.
Pick. Whoop.
We went by pod. For your pleasure. If you made it this far, definitely hit that subscribe button. Fuck me.
Forgot to give away the shirt again. Tune in Wednesday. We're
giving 2 away.
We got John Bauer on
we
Wednesday.
Give 2 away.
As long as everybody's feeling good. We'll be back next week with a little bit more of our regular scheduled stuff here, but definitely keep the Q&A coming. Keep tuning in. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, and all the new viewers, appreciate y'all for joining in. If you're listening on the podcast, we put this out as a podcast. There's a lot of information in there, right?
Have you been putting it out as a podcast?
Yeah.
You should put them all out.
Do people want to hear about trades? Do people have questions of? All right. Well, if you're on the podcast, let me get that 5-star subby and send me some proof. I got everybody that sent me in. I got them in the list, and I'm gonna do the drawing. And it's been so long, I'm gonna do 2 drawings. Make up for my slack acidness. But we appreciate you guys. Come join us over on the Discord channel, patreon.com/the FF Dynasty. Give us that $5 holler. Casey, almost done with this house. Someone said, hope if you finish it up soon, he's going to do some work in here. We're going to contract his ass out to spruce up the place, maybe get a real table. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
Do some other shit.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing else.
Me neither.
We'll talk to y'all next week. We'll be back Wednesday. Appreciate you. Peace.